Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mindfulness with Morgan, episode 2. Today, we're going to talk about, kind of have two different things I want to talk about. One is discernment, and the other is making the choice and having the intention to live in your highest vibration. I kind of have a little story that goes with both of those. But first, a couple days ago was summer solstice and a full moon in Sagittarius. I always love it when anything's in Sagittarius because that is my sun sign. So this solstice, I was feeling all of the beautiful, fiery action energy, and it was a nice little boost, especially since Mars has been in retrograde, which my understanding of Mars in retrograde is Mars is definitely like a male energy, which is really good for helping take action on things. And it's been retrograde, and it's been very difficult for me to get motivated to be consistent in any new thing that I've started. But as we've been getting closer to it going direct, I've been feeling a lot better about that. So once we hit July is like an amazing time, as far as I know, for things to take off and start going. You can probably hear the sirens in the background. I'm in New York. Technically, I'm in the Bronx. So there's lots of activity going on outside. Okay, so discernment. I am a shamanic healer. Maybe you've worked with shamanic healers before. Maybe you've worked with psychics before. Maybe you've worked with yoga healers, Reiki healers, had your angel angel work done. There are so many different healers out there, and it's all great, it's all wonderful. But when you're feeling lost or confused about what to do about a certain area of your life, it could be your life overall, your love life, your work life, and you maybe go to a few different healers to see what is discovered, sometimes that can be really tricky. Sometimes maybe you get some contradicting information, or if you're like me and you happen to hang out with a lot of spiritual people and healers, sometimes you'll be like, oh, I'm picking up this for you. Are they right? It's not right or wrong, but what is true and what isn't true? If you're going to all these healers, you're working hard on yourself, and you're getting a lot of information, and maybe you're just feeling more muddled, what do? You need to always know that first and foremost, you know what is best for you. You have your own inner guidance, your own intuition, your own highest self, and you know what is good for you, what is right for you, and what maybe wouldn't work for you. And yes, we're all on a journey and we're exploring things, and sometimes we try something and doesn't work out, and then we have to try something else, but that is part of your path. And sometimes we have to try something that maybe doesn't work out or doesn't work out how we expect to be able to get to where it is that we want to go. And maybe you don't know where you want to go, but you know that you want to feel happy. You know that you want to feel good about what you're doing and in your life, and you want to be yourself. So that is where you want to end up. Whether you know the specifics or the details of what any of that means, doesn't matter. So it's always important, and my shamanic teachers, they emphasize this with us. You must always use your own discernment when you receive healing or guidance. And I like to tell my clients this as well. I can give you whatever message I get from spirit, and if it doesn't quite feel like it's for you or it's for you at this time, listen to yourself first and foremost. Always. You are never required to follow what a healer tells you. Granted, usually healers, usually when I get guidance for someone, it's tools. It's tools to help the client figure out whatever it is they're figuring out. And so usually if you're given tools, it's good to try those tools, But if it's not feeling right for you, if it's not working, maybe you don't need that tool right now. Maybe that tool will work for you a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. And this has happened with me a lot, where I'll receive something that's like, oh, I'm not quite ready, or I give something a try, I'm like, this isn't quite working for me, or it doesn't quite feel right, and then maybe 3 months later something in me clicks on, and I'm like, I'm ready for that now. I'm ready. Everything happens on your time, in your own divine timing, and it's important to remember that. I had so part of the story that I'm going to tell you today, there's some different parts, but it has to do with my love life. I'm happily married now, and it took a lot to get here. Took a lot to get here, as it does for everyone, finding, your, what I like to call your true partner, is a journey. And so there are certain intuitions that I always had about my life, even when I would get muddled and my fear would muddle, or I would try to push it differently. I always knew inside that I would not get married until my 30s, and that I would have a family, despite I resisted that notion for a very long time. You can ask any family member I had. I was like, I'm never getting married. I'm having a cat. That's it. No kids, no husband. Even though deep inside I knew that wasn't true at all. I also got an intuition that when I got married, it would happen fast, which it did. And I started picking up a couple years ago during my travels. I was like, I think my husband's gonna be from a different country than I am. So I just had these like really deep feelings of truth, my intuition, my feelings of truth. And, I would question them. I wasn't always sure. And one time I had a friend, a spiritual friend, and she told me, she was like, Morgan, I was wearing this big crystal and I was meditating, and I just had this vision of you. I had this vision of you, and you were with, some big finance guy from Wall Street, and you were with him, and you were able to like do your spiritual work, and he just adored you, and you were able to kind of go in and influence, Wall Street and the finance people like through him. Which is a lovely story. And she said that I gave her this look, that I just gave her this look like she was batshit crazy. And it's because what she was saying didn't align with anything I felt about myself and my future. And it's not to say that I couldn't have that kind of life and be very happy, and who was, I was trying to remain open. I'm like, well, I guess it could be true, but it just didn't make sense with everything I like felt within myself. So I was using my own discernment. And you gotta people are gonna have different visions of you, for you, different readings, and I want to address that. Oh, this is good. This goes into my story. And it's not even necessarily that they're like fully wrong. We all have different paths that we can take in life. And this was I had a really big lesson about that these past few years before I met my husband. I was kind of involved off and on with this guy. We're going to call him Bob. I love using the name Bob for people when they can't use their real name. I'll probably always want to use the name Bob, but I'll try to switch it up. Okay, so Bob. I loved Bob very, very much. And Bob and I were we were never fully like together and had a commitment. We were kind of with each other off and on. And it was these cycles that were repeating. And I loved him very much. And when I was with him, and even when we'd go through a time when we weren't together and weren't really speaking to each other, I had so many signs. Not just signs. Some people would be like, oh, signs. psychological. I had many synchronicities and many dreams that kept telling me that Bob and I were possibly meant to be together and get married. Now, I never told him any of this. I'm not going to tell him this, but it was very difficult for me to understand what was going on. Here I am. There's this guy that I'm connecting to, that we're having, you know, some beautiful intimate moments, and then it gets really hard and there's fighting, then there's falling out, and I don't know, are we going to talk again? I'm not sure. And then eventually I kept feeling things would come back, and I was learning a lot about patience and compassion and trusting and timing. It was very, very difficult. But then, like, we would come back together, and my dreams and these intuitions and these signs, they were all showing us coming back together. And so I thought, oh my gosh, is this it? Is this the guy I'm having? I had never had synchronicities before about marriage. It was kind of really freaking me out. And I was trying to understand what was going on. I had a shaman friend I was working with in regards to him, and we did have like past lives together in different capacities. Not like, she did not show me anything of like a wonderful marriage, love, past life at all. They were kind of very dark past lives. And I did a lot of like forgiveness around me and Bob, a lot of meditations, and I just kept, the whole time, I just kept working on myself. And then finally, I ended up leaving. I went to the West Coast for a few months, and I didn't know what was going on, and I was very angry with Bob. I was very confused. I was confused about the synchronicities and the signs, because I spend so much time trying to be in tune with myself and in tune with spirit, God, the universe, whatever term you're comfortable with. But the other thing that I knew was that if Bob was, you know, the one for me, he didn't align with those other intuitions that I still had of, I would get married in my 30s, it would be fast, and my true partner was from a different country. If Bob and I turned out to be together, it would be a very slow process that required a lot of patience. It would not have been fast at all. And he was not from a different country. The 30s part could have still been true, but I mean, I had this one psychic who was like, it was a friend, we were meditating together. She's like, I just saw him plain as day in front of you proposing. There were so many crazy things that I had never experienced before. And so it came a time when I went and I actually worked with a woman who was a psychic from Nicaragua. She was like 91 years old. Oh my gosh, she was fantastic. She was a little bit of a diva too. She was such a character and great. I did some shamanic work for her, and in exchange she did a tarot card reading for me that I think lasted like 4 hours. This woman was hilarious. And she did a reading, and she saw my true partner. She was like, there's a beautiful man for you, and he's not from the same, and she was struggling with the word. She was like, state, and then she was finally like, he's not from where you live. And at that time I was kind of a nomad, and I said, oh, but I don't live anywhere right now, and we laughed. But she saw the man, my now husband, and what she saw in this beautiful man she described aligned with what I knew to be true. And then she pulled a card and she saw Bob, and she's like, who's this? Who is this? And she saw a lot of, darkness around Bob, and she was like, no, I hope you do not go back to this. And she said, if you choose to be with Bob, if you choose to be with this man, you will not be happy. And there was a part of me that knew that to be true as well. And I was like, okay, I know. And so that's the thing, especially when working with psychics. I don't know if any of you have. Like I said, I have had some experiences with 2 psychics, and they were positive experiences, especially this woman who did the tarot card reading. It was a fantastic experience. But no matter what, you have to trust yourself and your intuition. And how you ever know with any healer or any psychic that what they're saying is true is if it feels true inside of you. That's how you tell. People will be like, oh, psychics are bullshit. It's not that they're bullshit. It's that whatever they're reading might be possible different choices for you, but you have to feel out what feels right for you. So after this session I had with this wonderful psychic, I contacted my shaman friend who had done a lot of, a lot of work for me about me and Bob. And I'm like, I'm really confused because I received all these synchronicities, all these signs, I had all these dreams, and you had these journey experiences. I just, was I wrong? Was I not in tune? I was struggling with, how do I trust myself? How do I trust myself, with the information I'm receiving? There is always that question, like, did I psychologically make this up? So she did a journey for me, and she got back to me and she said, message that I got for you is that you need to journey to Mother Crow. If I haven't explained journeying for shamanic practitioners, journeying is when we either play a drum or I listen to drumming music, and that we go into kind of a meditative trance state. We go kind of tune into a different frequency, and we're able to go to, there's a lower world, a middle world, and an upper world, but we're basically able to go meet our spirit guides and do work for people there. We can meet the spirit guides, we can get guidance, we can do energy clearings, we can cross over spirits. There's all sorts of things that we can do, but that's what I mean by journey. So she told me that I needed to journey to the crow spirit animal. I was like, okay. So I didn't do it right away. I think I waited a few days, and then I was ready, and I did my journey to Mother Crow. And when I got there, what Mother Crow showed me is that I was standing in the middle of a circle of trees, and each tree, they were separated, by a few feet from each other. So each one kind of looked like a point and made a circle. And it's like, Mother Crow didn't speak to me, but it was like I understood what she was saying. And it was like each tree represented a path. And then, so I'm here in my circle. Next to my circle is another circle of trees, and in the middle of it was Bob. And Mother Crow showed me that one of my trees and one of his trees lined up. And that's what I was tuned into. There was a choice and there was a path where we lined up together. However, and one thing I forgot to leave out of the story is a few months before this, before I sat down with this psychic and was doing all this journey work, I had changed my intention. I had started saying that I want to find my true partner and be with my true partner, and that I want us to be able to help and support each other in living in our highest vibration. So I wanted the person who would bring out the best in me, is a different way to phrase that. My true person. And Mother Crow showed me that when I made that intention, a different path to a different tree lit up. And no longer was I aligned with Bob. And that made complete sense to me. Look, there's an alarm going off behind me, if you can hear that. Like, ding, 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 that's the key, that's the key. We're taking that as like the universe being like, that's it, everyone. Change your intention. If you're looking for love, a new job, a new place to live, new friendships, whatever, change your intention to, I want to find whatever it is that allows me to live in my highest vibration, that brings out the best part of myself. You could say that allows me to live in my highest consciousness, my highest vibration. There's a million ways to say it. If you do that, everything's going to start shifting, which can be difficult. So Mother Crow showed me the trees, excuse me, and the different paths that we can take. We are human beings. We do have choice. We do have free will. And so that's also a clue to different healers or psychics maybe giving you a reading that doesn't fully make sense to you. It is possible with where you are at right now in your life and the choices that you have been making that they could be tuning into a different path that you could take. So it's not about being, sorry, it's not about being wrong, and it's not about like being full of shit. It's just about, are they tuning in to what is making sense for you at this time? So the other thing that Mother Crow showed me was, oh, I keep coughing, sorry. The other thing Mother Crow showed me was something that I've been struggling with people who I have been dating or different friendships or work relationships, is that sometimes something would start out really great, and say someone would, you know, go out on a date, I'm talking to them, they're looking at me, they're lighting up, they feel really drawn to me, and then they freak out, and then they would push me away, and it would always feel very confusing. This happened with me over and over again. It was a cycle. I used to think that there was something wrong with me. I struggled with my self-worth. And what she showed me was I was standing there in this journey and I was shining my light, who I am, my light, my true self. And there was Bob in front of me, and my light was shining on him and he was happy. But the thing is when light shines on you from one direction, what happens? A shadow. And because my light was shining on him, he looked over and he saw a shadow, and he didn't want to see that shadow. And the only way to get rid of your own shadows is to shine your own inner light. Because if you're shining your own inner light and it's pouring out from all around you, then you're not going to have any shadows. This also explains, for those of us on a spiritual journey, why we, keep seeking teachers of higher vibrations, because their light is shining bigger, and because then their bigger light allows us to see another shadow that maybe we couldn't see before, and allows us to shine brighter ourselves for that shadow to go away. So this was an incredible journey that I've done a lot of journeys, and I don't always remember them. If I don't write them down, usually I don't remember them. But there are some that are so monumental, like this one. Such a big lesson that makes so much sense to me that I will absolutely remember. So I wanted to share that journey that Mother Crow did for me. And from when that psychic did that reading for me, a year after that, I was, let's see, I think that was in September, beginning of September, right around that time, my now husband and I, we decided that we were going to get engaged and married. And I stuck with my intention of wanting to find my true partner, the person who would support me in living in my highest vibration, and that he would live in his highest vibration as well. I went through one more round with Bob. And the last round with Bob was that lesson about vibrations, where I realized that there were many times when Bob and I were together that I felt more in my highest vibration. And I felt maybe he was there with me too. But what I realized is I spent some time with him and his friends, and my vibration lowered, and I was having reactions and things and anger and jealousy and these weird things where I was like, I don't feel like myself. And I had to work really, really hard to feel like myself around him and his friends, to raise my vibration back up. And it took me a little time to process, but I realized I can't, that was the big lesson. I can't be with someone who surrounds himself with people who aren't trying to live in their highest vibration. And I think that whether you want to use the terms highest vibration, high vibration, low vibration, doesn't matter. I think you can just get that. You want to be around people who bring out the best in you. People who are healthy and bring out the best of you. Healthy, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally. You want to surround yourself with those people. And if you're going to be romantically involved with someone, or even be friends with someone, or in a work environment, you want your boss, you want your friends, you want them to be healthy, to be like you in that regards. So within from the last time I saw Bob, in less than 2 months I was dating my husband, and within 6 months of that last round with Bob, I was married. And it happened fast. And my husband was so clear. He was so clear that he wanted to be with me. And there were signs leading up to him besides the psychic mentioning that there were little things that I wasn't reading them quite right, but then once my husband asked me out and we went on our first date, I understood all of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think, oh my gosh, wow, is this it? Is this it? And yes, it was. So it's like things can happen quickly, but they also can take some time. Because I was looking for my true partner for my life, for my lifetime. But how I did it wasn't even necessarily about going out and dating, trying to find the person. I mean, yes, you have to go meet somebody, but I kept working on myself. So I think that's it today. Today is about discernment. It's about intention. And it's about your highest vibration, being your true, authentic self. I hope that you enjoyed my stories. Feel free to leave comments or to reach out to me. You can email me at morgan.millogo, MILLOGO, @gmail.com. I'm available for private sessions. If you're not quite sure what type of session you want, I actually do a scan and my spirit guides say what I can do for you. But if you email me, I can email you the list of my services and the list of, prices. And there's also a list of ways to get discounts, really awesome ways to save some money on your shamanic session. So please reach out to me and leave comments if you have any questions or have any requests for certain maybe topics to discuss. And I will see you next week. Happy solstice.